All right, thank you, Tim. Shark Week is wrapping up. It all started with Michael Phelps racing that virtual great white shark Sunday night that, let's admit, it was a bit of a letdown. But we've been hosting our own version of Shark Week this week, telling you all about the 15 species of sharks that call the First Coast home. The hammerhead is a unique kind of shark. The unusual shape of its head helps maximize its ability to hunt and sense electrical signals in the water. But this species is especially vulnerable. First Coast News meteorologist Lauren Raudenkrantz met a group of researchers who are studying hammerhead babies to find out why they're so sensitive.
There he is.
This isn't a typical catch for a fisherman.
33, 36, and 49.
But for these researchers, they've hooked exactly what they're looking for, a hammerhead shark.
Yep, little hammer.
With their tedious catch and release efforts, UNF's shark biology team surveys the shark population, identifies different types of hammerheads, and studies how delicate these creatures are compared to other fish.
Most shark populations on the East Coast have rebounded to some extent. They're growing, which demonstrates the effectiveness of conservation. But I'm not quite sure that we're there with the hammerhead yet.
All sharks have special sensors on their heads, which pick up electrical signals from living creatures. Now, these sensors are critical for the shark's survival, to navigate and to hunt. One theory suggests the evolution of the hammerhead's head shape was to provide greater space for more of these sensors, making them very sensitive to electroreception. Hammerheads are also extremely sensitive if they get hooked, something researchers are still trying to understand.
It's an important point that these guys are so sensitive that when fishermen catch them by hook and line, and if they fight them, even if they have the greatest intentions, and they typically do, but quite often they're still not going to make it.
It is a little male.
The baby hammerhead sharks are born off the beaches in May or June. They then journey to the quiet inland waters where they spend the first chapter of their life.
This little hammerhead is about 2 months old, and we can tell that because he has a scar from his umbilical cord, kind of like a belly button for humans.
At the end of the summer, the sharks make their way back out into the Atlantic Ocean. It takes about 10 years for a hammerhead to reach maturity. And while they may look innocent now, these fish can grow to 12 feet or more.
Everybody's afraid of them, because they have the big head, and the great hammerhead grows quite large. And there have been, of course, a few reports of hammerhead bites, but hammerheads are not generally considered to be one of the more dangerous shark species that people fear.
The bark, or in this case the looks, may be worse than the bite, but unfortunately many species of hammerheads are at a high risk of extinction.
But the hammerhead's different.
Wow.
It's not going to survive the same sort of stress that like a sandbar or a blacktip would.
Humans are the #1 threat to this species, but the scientific community hopes studies like this will help bring awareness to these amazing animals. Lauren Raudenkrantz, First Coast News.